All right. Let's get into it.
Well,
yeah. You know, like we talked about earlier, I think if I was ever president or vice president, I would go play with all the fucking toys.
Yeah.
Right? Because
you have to.
Yeah, I would. Like, I want to test fire this B-52 bomber. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, like,
like who's going to tell you no?
Exactly.
You know, like, right. Sir, you can't do that. Like, okay, you're fired. You're next. You're going to let me do this? Cool. You're in their spot now.
Right.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
You know?
But, yeah. Well, anyway, JD Vance went and talked to some Marines and had a pretty motivational talk beforehand. And in his speech, he's like, yeah, now let's go shoot some guns. And
he was shooting big guys.
Yeah.
Well, that was just a blank. There'd be more recoil otherwise.
They like decked him out in gear and everything too. Camera guy did a horrible job.
Yeah, he did.
It's just, hey, let's look at the back of this soldier.
I mean, he used to be a Marine, or I guess once a Marine, always a Marine. But as the vice president, he probably gets to play with more toys than he did when he was a combat photographer or
correspondent.
Correspondent, yeah.
Yeah, this one doesn't have great videos. I'll see if I can find.
Yeah.
I saw some on like TikTok that were fucking like him just going full auto in the whole nine.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least he's shooting guns and not trying to take them.
Like, how does the Secret Service deal with this scenario, right? Like,
probably
because I mean, he was a Marine, so he's not like a completely incompetent person with a gun, probably.
Speaking of 240 Bravos,
he's got a vice presidential shoulder patch, which is pretty cool.
There is a 240 Bravo that is a transferable, available for sale on Gunbroker right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Lowest serial number on the books. Started asking bid is $650,000.
Woo! How much do you think that'll appreciate in like 10, 15 years?
Not much more.
Probably
than that.
50, 100 grand.
Damn.
Just because you can't get them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, the problem will be is once it's sold, then the guy who owns it's either going to have to die or go broke.
It does.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what I mean?
That gun's already been sold 3 times in the recent years. I don't know the exact timeline on it, but some lawyer had it, and then he sold it to somebody else, and that person sold it to somebody else. And now it's
go back.
Yep.
This was interesting. So I said it was a blank, right? So they're shooting sub-caliber. Back it up a little bit more.
Oh, the training round.
Yeah, well, of course it's a blank round, but it's a sub-caliber howitzer round they put in a sleeve.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Well, it's like when we shot the 9mm tracers on the AT4s.
Except it's a big difference. Like, you know what I mean? Because the little ones are what we used to shoot at like football games in high school.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was in the National Guard. It was a smaller howitzer, but it was the same round as he put in that sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
At least the optics.
Oh, that's refreshing.
I love it. There's like 8 years of spray paint
Yeah.
coated onto that thing.
I dig the vice presidential shoulder patch, though.
That's cool.
That'd be a cool one to have.
I like that he actually has plates in and everything.
Yeah.
I don't think that guy has plates in though. At least not a back plate.
Is that like a cry? That's a cry plate carrier, right?
I think so.
Do you think this is like, is he just another gear guy? Like he's got all this shit hanging up in his office.
Okay, so he's 40. He's a little younger than me. But you give me a chance to go back out on the range, I'm shooting everything.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's all changed.
Yeah. Like if a current unit hit up Warfighter and was like, hey, I want to come to a range day.
Please do.
Absolutely.
Please do. Especially if you're an infantry unit. Or like, God damn it, let me see the new sniper gear.
That's all. Yeah.
You know, I would love that. Because I know there's shit that, you know, I'd like to see.
Oh, look, he's even got the once a Marine, always a Marine. You called it,
cool.
Scott. You called it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool that he just went out for a fucking range day.
I would get once a Marine, now a vice president hat, though.
Oh. That would be a fire hat.
Right.
And every single Marine would be like, fucking nice.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool, though. That, you know, like, would Trump ever do that? I don't think Trump's a gun guy. I know Junior is, but I don't know if Trump.
If I feel like if he was gonna go to a range day, he would want it demonstrated to him. I don't think he's a hands-on. Like he'd stand next to the cannon when it went off type deal, or like the sniper team showing them
the capability.
Their capability. Yeah. I think he'd be down for that. I don't think he'd be like, all right, now fucking hand it over.
Do you think Trump would be like I don't want to get dirty kind of guy? Because he's always I've never not seen him in a nice ass suit.
Yeah, I think I
don't think he'd get in the prone.
No, it would be like on like a bench on like a sled or something, and he'd reach around and just pull the trigger.
I mean, the one time I seen him in the one time I seen him in the prone was when he was getting shot at and he was worried about his shoes.
That's true. Yeah, any man who gets shot and is like, hold on, I left my shoe.
Hey, I need that shoe back.
Yeah. No, I feel like this is cool, like for the soldiers' perspective, because it's not like he came out and just gave him like a little hoorah speech and stuff. He was just like, no, let's go make loud noises, make a bang, like fucking come on now, like that's cool. That'll bump them around a little bit.
I think he would have to. His speech was good too. It was motivational. They talked about like the way he talked about diversity in his speech was really good. Because he got rid of the DEI. He's like, but as a Marine, we come from walks of life all over everywhere. And he said that, the best thing about, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, the best thing about diversity is, you come here and we're the most diverse, unit, or not necessarily that particular unit, but the most diverse thing you can get. And it works. If you're motivated and you want to be the best, there's going to be room for you to do that. So it was a good speech, but
I saw a video recently of I think they were Marines and they were playing, I guess what's called the quiet game, where they can't talk, but what they do is they take their phones and they grab little JBL speakers and they do text to speech, and they were just like hurling insults at each other. And it was a white dude and a black dude, and both of them were just fighting with every ounce of their body not to laugh. And I was like, that's the military. like you can make jokes at each other, no one's getting their feelings hurt. I was like, oh, a little breath of fresh air there.
Yeah, no matter like white, black, Mexican, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You all made the same dumb fucking decision to be in the same unit together.
Very true.
You know what I mean? Like you're more alike than you think, even though you might be really different.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you researching over there?
I'm looking at some new current event stuff just to see. I haven't really been paying attention lately because it's just been an absolute dumpster fire.
Yeah.
That's why you've been in such a good mood, John.
It's funny because like there's no fact anymore. It's all, the news is all opinion based.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's like maybe 1% of everything they're talking about is actually factual. The rest of it is, okay, so what are your thoughts on this? Well, I believe, you know what I mean? And
well,
then,
as a consumer of news, do you believe that people today would be able to come to their own conclusions based on facts given?
they have.
No, well,
Look at this past election.
right. Some. But I don't think the news agencies are willing to, like, we have to tell them what to think.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, that's the strategy for some reason.
I think, honestly, I think their strategy is they don't care what direction they go in as long as people go to their website.
Yeah.
And watch their videos and go to their social media pages.
Yeah.
Because that's how they get paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think they care what the consumer thinks of what their news piece is as long as they get traction to it.
Right.
You know, if they don't get traction to it, then what's the point of the article? I could have put something else up that drove traffic.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. And that's why it's such shock and awe. It has absolutely nothing to do with, like, is this actually true or not?
Right.
Let me do some investigation to make sure that what I'm putting out is factual.
I got a challenge for all of the media companies, all of the news companies. Pick one day, or just one time, pick one day, and all report exactly the same way with just the facts and nothing else. and just see what happens. Like, can you imagine if CNN, Fox, MSNBC, or whatever the fuck, if they all said the same words and society for one day had to make up their own conclusions about who was right, wrong, what happened, right? But can you imagine that? I think society might break.
I agree, because I think people would come up with their own opinions and make up their own facts and be like, nope, you're a stupid idiot because I bet this actually happened. It's like, whoa, you're making an assumption there. Like,
but imagine that if all the news media agreed on putting out the same shit, what would happen? What would happen?
All the conspiracy theorists would come out of the woodwork. It'd be fucking awesome.
Nobody would believe anything that any one of them put out.
Yep.
This has to be, if they all agree, it has to be a lie.
Oh yeah. It'd be like the sun came out this morning and they'd be like, actually, because we live in this dome, the sun has never been there. Like, John, you got any new conspiracy theories for us?
Oh man, I got a lot.
Oh, let's hear them.
I don't know which one I want to go down the rabbit hole on, but like, I mean, we'll talk Signalgate.
Oh,
there's one I saw the other day that I can't remember exactly who it was, but it had something to do with some dude, and his wife was a Chinese national, but she was also an assistant U.S. attorney in D.C., and somehow they were involved in getting the journalist on the thread and getting the information to embarrass Trump. Like, there's some good ones that are out there right now. It's really fun.
Now, okay, let's talk about Signal for a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know now that that's how our higher echelons of government are communicating with each other to some extent. Probably not exclusively, I would hope.
No,
but like for quickly, right? Quick updates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think there's no way via a phone that you can talk super classified shit, right? It's all done in a skiff or a
secured line,
right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but there's probably instances where if in real time we need to communicate what is happening, they have to use something. Now, would I have guessed that our U.S. government uses Signal? No, probably not. I thought they may have their own fancy piece of software.
No, and I know, I don't know if any of our listeners will give me shit about this, but I know there's people out there that will give me shit about this. Signal is one of those apps that's end-to-end encryption. Right. So unless you have the app or the phone, you can't access that.
Right.
That information is encrypted between those two apps, those two devices.
Yeah.
Now, if you can get on that device, in theory, if you're a good enough hacker or coder, you can figure out a way to try to access that on one end or the other through that user's phone.
My computer tried to hack my phone the other day. It wants to mirror my phone. Like, no, I don't want my computer to mirror my phone.
That's just Apple.
I know, but like, I'm not always sitting in front of my computer.
Yeah.
I'm not always sitting, like, why did it automatically tried to hack my phone?
That's one of the cool things that I love about Apple, though, is I can just pass everything from device to device to device.
I also hate it.
I love it. My only gripe about that is I wish my desktop would mirror on my iPad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I wish all the
instead of your phone and your iPad, you wish it was your desktop.
Or even my phone and my iPad. I wish I could open my iPad and all my apps were set up like how they are on my phone.
Oh, I know. They're all there, but they're not
organized the same. Yeah. And that took me 4 hours. Yeah. I don't have another 4 hours to do it on my fucking iPad. And then the worst part is I took 4 hours to organize all my apps into folders, and now it takes me 5 minutes anytime I need to find an app I don't use all the time.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what folder I fucking put it in.
Some listeners going to be like, dummies, just click on this and it does it.
Please tell me.
I got some tips for y'all.
Thanks, bud.
No, I do that all the time with my iPad, because my iPad sits in between my two screens at my desk, and I can control it. I can control my iPad with my mouse and keyboard, and I can add it as like a third screen apparently. Right. So like, if my colors aren't looking right for the photos and stuff, I can drop it on my iPad because it has a fantastic display, and I'm like, God, I fucking love Apple. Like, there's someone that's gonna comment and be like, but
Yeah.
Windows.
Well, like when I was just right before we started recording, I was talking about Rotan and having to do PowerPoints for the first time in my life. And I was trying to do them on my iPad, which was a little interesting. And then obviously Nick with Warfighter Scuba, he's a Windows guy. He does, builds websites. It's his, his full-time job for the past, 10, 15 years. The IT side of things, like all that kind of stuff, which I understand, right? Like I get there is a specific reason and use for the Windows platform, like anything accounting. Mac just doesn't work.
Yeah.
The programs don't work the same on Mac.
Gaming's the same way.
Gaming, anything with investments. I found that out, talking with Mel, like Apple, no, doesn't work. Yeah. None of the programs will work on an Apple. They're not designed for it.
Yeah.
It's just different operating system. I get it. So when I was in Rotan, we were talking about it, and I was like, the coolest thing that I can do with this is I hit these two buttons and I can throw it up on the screen.
Yep.
Nick said, well, I could do it too. I'm like, okay, bud. You know what I mean? And I was like, the other cool thing is this fancy thing called AirDrop, and I can just send it to my phone. Well, I can do that too. I'm like, yeah. It's like, but you have to set up a network.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't just drag and drop and it's fucking there. Like,
it's literally built into the operating system.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I don't have to set anything else up. But yeah. Now, conspiracy theories. Let's see. What are some of the other good ones that I saw lately? I'm still waiting for the Gulf of America to come true. The only reason that name was changed is because
for oil production.
Yep, because we can't drill in the Gulf of Mexico, but we can drill in the Gulf of America.
Yep.
What are some of the other ones? The Signal Gate one that I just told you about.
Hey, speaking of conspiracy theories here, do we know who killed JFK and why and all that yet? I know the papers got released, but
it's nothing. There's no anything that came out.
No smoking gun.
There's whatever it was, 30 or 80,000 pages or whatever it was. And essentially all it said that there was a cover up by the government in some way, shape, or form, but because it's all been 70 years and it's all deleted, Yeah. But then there's back channels that were being used for communications. Then there was.
Didn't they tie Iran to it a little bit or something?
I don't know. But they didn't suggest there was a different shooter or more than one shooter or somebody else.
They did not.
They did not. No, there was no new information.
So it just had to be classified for 70 years because fuck you. That's why.
No, it's because it took them that long to go through all of that and hide everything they needed to hide.
That's what I think happened.
That's really what it was. Like this is okay. Conspiracy theory.
Do it, John.
So this comes down. The Bushes are involved. The Clintons are involved. There's so many people that are involved that go so far back because it was the beginning of their era of schwacking people.
Well, I saw there was Biden was mentioned in them somewhere.
Obviously they're not going to be. There's no clear cut like, Hillary said blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? There's you read between the lines on a lot of the stuff, and that's why they're conspiracy theories. And it's not like, this is factual.
Leave it to the government to try to hide this stuff. But the problem with doing this now is our assumptions are probably the worst assumptions.
Well, there's a theory. There's a theory going around that the Secret Service guy, the driver, is the actual shooter.
Yeah,
it was a compressed air weapon, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know. It doesn't. I can see, like, I've watched the video enough where I can see where you can be like, okay, I can see why people say that.
Yeah.
Like he moves his hand in the right time, in the right place, in the right angle, but you can't make out anything. You know what I mean? Like, and it's such a grainy video that ballistically, like, you can't take anything out of it.
Yeah.
The reaction to JFK, or the way his body or head moves, or anything like that, or the Secret Service guy, like, it's not a clear enough video to be able to put all that together.
Right.
But no, I was hoping that like something was going to come out of that.
Yeah.
I did see that they're actually investigating what fucking U.S. attorney. I can't remember what state. New Jersey, maybe. I think it was a district attorney in New Jersey is going through and investigating all the Epstein files and the lists and the flight logs.
Yeah, that still hasn't come out, has it?
Because they're still. So the last I read, and I think Pam Bondi put it out a couple weeks ago. She was saying that they were investigating this and nothing's going to get released until they have actual, like, information.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think I'm hoping what they're doing is they're actually going through everything,
Putting together.
putting 2 plus 2 equals 4. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping that their release of all of this is going to be like, okay, so these 87 warrants have just been served
Right.
and all these people have been arrested because of this.
Yeah.
And that's how they release it. And not being like, oh, well, all these people were on the flights.
Right.
Okay. And,
Yeah.
right. So like, I'm optimistic
Yeah.
that they'll actually investigate it because they haven't released it.
Okay.
If they released it, I would have been like, okay, nothing's happening. You know what I mean? Why are you going to put all these names out and nobody's getting arrested?
Right.
Now nobody's going to get arrested.
Right.
Because any good lawyer is just going to be like, yeah, this isn't how this system works.
Right.
You know? But we'll see. So
Yeah.
hopefully. I do love the fact that everyone's bashing Elon Musk as the leader of Doge.
Yeah.
And they're still doing it.
Yeah.
Right. And then the title of this article is Doge Caucus Leader Demands IRS Crackdown as nearly 6,000 staff owe up to $46 million in back taxes, which is awesome. Right. I love that it's the definition of make sure your yard's clean before you talk shit about your neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
Right. How the fuck can you work for the IRS? 6,000 people work for the IRS. They owe $46 million in back taxes, but those are the people that come after U.S. citizens
Right.
for back tax. No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It'd be like
That's like a cop arresting me for a DUI and he's shit faced.
Yeah, I was gonna say a cracked out DEA agent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Like, you're going to jail, buddy. You're hammered. Like, sir, so are you. It doesn't matter. But then the first line of this is Senator Joni Ernst, Republican, Iowa, the top Republican in the Senate's Government Efficiency Caucus. Wait. Hold on. So that's the top guy in Doge.
oh yeah.
I thought that was Musk.
Right.
Oh, no, wait. He's just an advisor.
Yeah. You know,
Once again, goes
so
back to we need clicks on our article.
I was looking, you know, I think the last episode we talked about Doge and Elon Musk a little bit. And I said, nobody's explained to me why they're mad at him. Well, okay. So I dug into this a little bit more.
Yeah.
And they said that he's an unelected official cutting all of these jobs and everything so that he can give his corporate buddies tax breaks.
At least when I'm talking about a conspiracy theory, I say, hey, this is a conspiracy theory.
Right.
I don't try to put it out as the truth in a news article.
But what is rich buddies and tax breaks? Fuck you. Like, that is a line that was repeated 100 times and you took it you swallowed the whole fucking hook there. Like, okay, how? You can't just end your argument with that.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the CIA killed JFK. Okay, how? You know, like, when I say the CIA killed JFK, I don't mean take that as like, that isn't the truth now.
Yeah, like the director of the CIA walked out to him with a handgun and shot him in the face.
Right.
Like,
you know, like in order to prove that, there has to be a how, you know, like, how are they going to give all these rich people tax breaks through Doge? And if they do, is it a bad thing or not to give corporations some tax breaks? Like,
well, how about this? How about we decrease spending,
right?
And then we don't have to generate as much tax revenue.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we have to decrease spending below what we take in of tax revenue.
Right.
But that's like, I don't know, a novel idea. Like, maybe let's try that one time, right? The one presidency for 4 years. Let's try this out and let's see if it works.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, cool. In the next presidency, you go back to spending 5 times more than what you generate.
Yeah.
You know, but let's just try it once.
Right. The same thing with the
Even 1 year. Let's try it for one fiscal year. You know what I mean? Like, let's.
Yeah.
I know we have people smart enough where we can just be like, okay, look, like we only bring in X amount. So that means we can only spend X amount. That means we have to reduce everything across the board by this %.
Right.
And then we can do that. Nobody has issues with this, right? Because this is all the money that we have. We don't have any more money that we can use to do. Okay, cool. Let's try it. Let's go. And then a year later, people are going to be like, oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when is this Fort Knox visit? I want, that kind of fell off the fucking radar now too.
Oh yeah, it's because one of the guards is like, hey man, there's really no gold in there. You probably shouldn't do this.
It's literally a break room now for the guards that guard the place.
All it is, I guarantee you, it's like an empty room. There's not even a piece of dust on the floor. Like it is spotless, and they just have 2 guys out there guarding it 24/7. You know what? Like
either that or it's like 3 pallets of IOUs.
It's just a note. Sorry, shit got tight.
like Dumb and Dumber briefcase. You know what I mean?
It would be amazing if all the IOUs had like the person and the date. Like IOU $14 trillion, Barack Obama, 2007. Or whatever, 2009, whatever it was. That'd be really funny.
What else is new?
We'd talk about the cigar news, the court stuff going on. If you want to bring that up real quick, I'll paraphrase this half-wheel article real quick to get that started. But essentially, I mean, we've been talking about this for a little while now. The U.S. Court of Appeals, the District of Columbia, has rejected an attempt by the Cigar Rights of America and Premium Cigar Association to end the federal lawsuit against the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's regulation of premium cigars. A couple weeks ago, the 2 groups asked the courts to modify the ruling. They didn't want to. Essentially, that January ruling, which upheld Judge Mehta's August 2023 decision, found that the FDA failed to take into account comments made regarding whether certain cigars, i.e. premium cigars, were used differently than other cigars when the agency was crafting the deeming regulations. As such, premium cigars are currently not subject to the deeming regulations, which include product approval restrictions on advertising, user fees, and others, which is great.
Yeah.
Except now it's getting kicked back to Judge Mehta because the current premium cigar definition, which covers pretty much every handmade cigar, other than those added flavors, they don't know. They didn't get. I don't know.
They didn't do the right question.
Yeah, they didn't have an option to question it.
Question the definition itself.
He argued, the Michael Edney, the lead attorney for PCA, argued because the government's appeal didn't deal with the question about the definition, it wasn't something that the appeals court should rule on. And they also claimed that the government told him that it did not plan on arguing for a different definition in front of Mehta. In this January ruling, the appeals court found that because the definition was never debated in the summer of 2020, it was necessary to give the various sides the opportunity to debate the definition and then have Judge Mehta, who has heard the case since it was first filed, make a ruling on it. So the FDA came up with that definition.
I think they were fed the definition by us, by PCA or somebody. I don't think the FDA came up with it. I think they were. I don't know how that all.
Either way, the FDA is the one that presented the definition.
Right.
It wasn't. It's right here. The lead attorney for Michael Edney, the lead attorney for CRA PCA, in this lawsuit, argued that the status quo definition, which was created by the FDA in the summer of 2020, was sufficient. I don't understand, and what I think is happening. The reading between the lines, and this is kind of, I've said this on a couple episodes ago when they filed that motion and Cigar Rights of America and Premium Cigar Association were like, yeah, definition's cool, let's move forward. And then CAA was like, no, I don't agree with any of that. Flavored cigars need to be involved too. I think that is why this is happening.
Well, I think they were trying to.
Well, if
The easy way would be to quickly amend the definition and add whatever they wanted to add or take away what they wanted to take away without having to redefine it after everything is settled.
because the judge already ruled on it,
Right.
if they change it, it opens up everything to happen all over again.
Right.
Everything that started in 2016,
I would think so.
because the decisions were based around that definition.
Yeah.
So if they change that definition, then that opens the FDA to be like, oh, hey, remember those deeming regulations
Yeah.
that we tried in 2016 and that you guys won? Yeah, we're going to do that again now because you changed the definition. You know? So like,
Yeah.
if they get flavored cigars added back into that, that definition changes. Everything changes. How they can approach that changes. Because right now, it's essentially the definition is it has to meet all of the conditions listed below, and then it is not subjected to the FDA's deeming regulations. And there's 8 things. 1, the wrapper is whole leaf tobacco. 2, contains a 100% leaf tobacco binder. 3, contains at least 50% of the filler by weight of long filler tobacco, i.e. whole leaves that run the length of the cigar. Is handmade or hand rolled, i.e. no machinery is used apart from simple tools such as scissors to cut the tobacco prior to rolling. Number 5, has no filter, non-tobacco tip, or non-tobacco mouthpiece. Number 6, does not have a characterizing flavor other than tobacco. Number 7, contains only tobacco, water, and vegetable gum with no other ingredients or additives. And number 8, weighs more than 6 pounds per 1,000 units.
Yeah.
That's very specific.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you add flavored cigars into there,
Right.
that negates those 8 things that set aside
Yeah.
a premium cigar from anything else tobacco related.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I guess, Justin, because you are the only one here that might not understand this, but why they say whole leaf,
Long filler tobacco.
whole leaf wrapper and binder is because if you look at a cigarette, it's paper.
Oh,
yeah.
If you look at like a Swisher, it's almost like a paper mache of tobacco.
Oh, really?
It's like they take trimmed tobacco and they press it flat and make it like a sheet of paper and use that to roll.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
So that's the big that's what they're using on.
yeah, because
they're
that way it separates it from one.
literally every there's
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
else on the market that's made of tobacco can fall under a premium cigar definition
Right.
besides a premium cigar.
Yeah.
Like they were very specific about it.
Yeah.
So like the only way that you can amend this is to add more things into it.
Right.
Right. But the number one thing, at least in my opinion, the number one thing on here that separates everything is, where is it? Contains only tobacco, water, vegetable gum, no other ingredients or additives.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't do a flavored or infused cigar and have that work.
Yeah.
But that's the part that separates it from everything else.
Yeah. Now,
At least in my opinion.
Now, John's talking like we would never do flavored cigars. We would.
I would love to.
We may someday. But I'm not going to give up that little bit of I'm not going to give up
The protection of all premium cigars just so we can do flavored cigars.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Stupid question. Would like a sugar cap fall like that? If you add a sugar cap, it is now no longer
Well,
a premium cigar.
I think
It
there's-
contains only tobacco, water, vegetable gum with no other ingredients or additives.
I think that would include sugar.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sugar is not vegetable gum, water, or tobacco.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like it's so cut and dry with this that it's just like, oh yeah, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
That's like our dumpster fire. We literally are going to have to disassemble and weigh
Yeah.
just to figure out if that makes it. I think it would. I have a very good feeling that it will.
Yeah.
But we just have to weigh it. You know, we put enough long filler pieces in there, leaves inside the dumpster fire where I believe that it would make that requirement of at least 50%
I think so.
of filler by weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see. And then the way the article finished up is In its January ruling, the appeals court found that because the definition was never debated in the summer of 2020, it was necessary to give the various sides the opportunity to debate the definition and then have Judge Mehta, who has heard the case since it was filed, make a ruling on it. Given today's ruling from the appeals court, that is what will happen next. In the meantime, the cigars that meet the conditions listed below are not subject to the FDA deeming rules, and we just read that. But yeah, so essentially they're going to kick it back down to kind of hash this out and hash out the definition, which is kind of what we didn't want.
Yeah.
But I think that had something to do with CAA and not agreeing.
Yeah.
You know, it's, I don't know.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Like we were right there.
Yeah, we were right there.
You know, and now the everything's wide open again.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know if it's wide open. I think we're still there. I think the only way the definition will change is if the judge agrees that it doesn't affect his ruling. Right?
Yeah.
So at least the same.
But now the FDA and the cigar groups get to argue why the definition is or isn't the way it is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Because obviously the FDA, CRA, and PCA are going to be like, oh, no, that's the definition that we decided 2020. It works great. Yeah. And then CAA is going to be like, well, no, we want whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, guys, like,
yeah,
come on. You know? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it is. I would like to.
If we're wrong about our analysis of this, let us know.
Mm-hmm. Like, I would like to start with premium cigars are exempt from the FDA's deeming regulations. Okay, cool. Now, using that case law, now you can figure out a way to get infused cigars defined and exempt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that makes sense.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And if we can't, okay, at least we got premium cigars.
Yeah. I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, let's blow this up so we can make sure that we get infused cigars on here too. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not cool with that. But I don't know. Yeah, but that's the latest going on in the news. We do have PCA coming up soon. That's in a couple weeks, and that is in New Orleans. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
It'll be our first time there. But New Orleans has some pretty strict anti-smoking laws. It'll be interesting. I did see a couple of places that they listed, PCA listed for us to hang out in the evenings. I don't know how it's going to work. They're just not big venues. I don't think you can smoke inside them. And one venue has like an upstairs balcony that you could probably fit 50, 75 people on. You know, like that's it.
A lot more than that attend the trade show.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
The other place is a cigar lounge.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm telling you right now, it's not big enough. But yeah, so we'll see on that. That is the second weekend in April. We talk about the redacted cigar a little bit.
Oh yeah, let's do that. So I think one of the social medias, and when does the email hit?
April 1st.
Yeah, April
1st.
1, yep.
Yep.
So-
And this is not an April Fool's joke.
It's not. It's not.
So we have our redacted cigar, which we've smoked on here before. We've talked briefly about it because the majority of the information about that cigar is redacted.
Yeah.
As the government's trying to figure out what they have classified and declassified. All the ingredients of the redacted cigar are classified for our eyes only.
Yeah.
We're not releasing wrapper, bind, or filler. We're doing that on purpose. We will tell you where it's made. It's made at our factory in Nicaragua.
Yep.
We are using high quality tobaccos, just like any other cigar that we make.
It's a 6x52 Toro.
Yep. But you can't buy it.
Yep.
It's not for sale, and it will never be for sale. It's for sale one time at the Underground in Fort Worth. for their NFG event at the beginning of this year.
So there's been a handful of people that have smoked it.
Yep.
The reviews have been pretty good so far. So,
and but this is the easiest way to explain this is an event only cigar. So in any future event that Warfighter is doing, if you're there and we're there, there's a strong probability that your promo cigar that you get, like let's say we do a buy 4 get 1.
right.
That one free one is going to be a redacted cigar.
Yeah.
It's not just going to be another one of our core lines or whatever cigar that's out there we have.
Yeah. So technically, this is a free cigar.
Yeah. Technically.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a free cigar. It's something we did for you guys. It's a free cigar.
Yeah. But we also understand that we're not doing events, 4 nights a week, every week, all across the country.
Right.
There's only a few of us, and it's really hard to do that and, cover down on events everywhere and cover travel and all the expenses that come with that. So we figured out another way for everybody to be able to get these cigars if you can't attend an event that we're doing. And that is 1 day a month. Right now we're looking at the 1st of the month. We're starting this April 1st.
For 1 day.
For 1 day only, April 1st, that is it. If your order isn't placed between midnight and 11:59 p.m. on April 1st, this does not apply. But for every 5-pack you order on the website, you get 1 free redacted cigar.
You can be mix and match. So every 5 cigars you order,
Yep.
you get 1 free.
Yep. So if you get a box of cigars, you get 4 of them.
Yeah.
If you get 2 boxes, you get 8.
If you get a 6-pack sampler and a 3-pack sampler,
you get 1.
Oh, 1.
That's only 9 cigars.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's it. So for every 10 or every 5 cigars you get 1 free redacted cigar. There's no code. It won't be added to your cart. None of that happens. When we fulfill your order, we will count all the cigars that are in your order. And depending on how many you have, that's how many redacted cigars we throw in your order.
Yeah.
Like I said, that is only good for that 1 day. We will have emails. We'll have a short video, some social media posts going out, also explaining all this. But that is how you get the redacted cigar.
Yep.
You come to one of our events, which I have events lined up in Arizona for the first week of March. Excuse me, first week of April. Jesus, wow. I have, if you're in Arizona, I'll go over these real quick to let you know another way to get these. But we got, let's see, I want to say it's Wednesday night. I have a cut and light at Trevor's at the Mayo location from 6 to 8. The Yard Cigar Bar is April 3rd, which is a Thursday. That starts at 4 p.m. And then Friday evening, we'll be at Puro in Chandler. I think that's it for right now. But those 3 locations, for the first week of April, I will be there, and we will be running some event specials, and that free cigar will be the redacted cigar. If you can't make it to those events, jump on the website on April 1st and place an order. Every 5 cigars you get a free redacted cigar. And they're delicious. They really are.
Yeah. This isn't it's not like we put together a cheap cigar for this. This is a great cigar. It's a great cigar.
We wanted this cigar to be good, that people will go out of their way to come to our events because they want to get this cigar.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, well, we'll just throw this together for a free one. Like, no, we put some time and effort into this guy.
It's not a dumpster fire. It's
delicious.
It's a premium.
Yeah.
Like it's a delicious cigar. So, I almost wish we would sell this one, but we'll see how this plays out.
I mean, the box, like there's a lot of cool stuff we could have done with this cigar.
Yeah.
But instead we just wanted a high quality, very good tasting cigar as our event only stick.
Yeah. It's our gift to you.
Well, that was it. This is like, let's do something special. Let's do something unique. Mm-hmm. Let's not do what everybody else is doing. Like that was the premise behind why we started the project. And then as we were going through it and blending, then we were like, oh man, this is going to be great. But yeah. But yeah, so April 1st, Redacted Cigar, or any events that we have coming up. We're also going to be at Mild Kentucky Herf, but that's hosted by Fat Ash Cigars in Kentucky. I know I'll have these out there for that. What else do we have coming up?
Oh, we got some. There might be some last minute randoms we put.
Yeah. I know those ones for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, pay attention on our social media. We put out all the events that we do on there. What else? There's something else we were going to talk about too. Wasn't there something else?
I got to give a thank you to Jesse. He got me a victory cigar for my birthday. You almost snuck it by Scott. You were this close.
Yeah.
He almost got
It was
that.
in the box and labeled, ready to be mailed to this address.
That's it was ready to go.
Funny if you just sent it in the mail. It shows up like, what the fuck? Is this a return? No, this is for you.
So I just wanted to give a big shout out to Jesse. That was fucking awesome. I appreciate it, man.
When are you gonna smoke it?
Probably today, actually. Yeah, I think I'm gonna smoke it today.
Yeah.
Maybe I got dinner plans with the family, and then I think after that I'm gonna go enjoy me a victory cigar.
Nice.
Another round around the or another trip around the sun. So
Yeah. It's hard for me to believe that we employ somebody in their 20s yet. 'Cause honestly, it is because you don't act 20s.
thank you. I appreciate that. that's a great concept. It's one of my favorite
It is,
compliments.
'cause
Yeah.
Yes, offense to 20-year-olds. Most of y'all act like fucking 20-somethings, and it's not great.
I got to remind myself I'm dating somebody that's in their 20s still. Because it's the same thing. 99% of the time, no.
Yeah.
There's no way that you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
Now that 1% of the time, like, fuck.
Yeah, as someone with a bunch of friends in their 20s, I'm like, Jesus Christ. But I think we're doing all right.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Just seeing like I don't know, learning curve that happens with time.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was in my 20s. We were all a shit show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The last thing that I was thinking about in my 20s was getting married, having kids, and buying a house.
I had done all of that already in my 20s.
But by your mid 20s, that's not what was on your agenda. You weren't like, yeah, I'm going to keep, this is great. Like, let's keep having kids and getting more houses.
Well, true. I did it out of necessity
Yeah.
because I had the kids. So,
Right.
yeah.
Did you ever have that moment where you were like, you know what? Like, you and Michelle sat down and then you decided, you're like, you know what? Like, we don't want to have kids. And then you like go back in the house and you're like, hey kids, we have a family meeting. We don't want to have kids anymore.
We never had the family meeting with the other kid. But we definitely were done having kids. I think.
You didn't like tell the kids like we don't want to have kids, so you guys need to figure out where to live now.
Oh, I do that daily. Did you find the basket?
I did.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, and Austin knows he was definitely
Mm-hmm.
an extra, a bonus, if you will.
Have you and Abby had that conversation yet? Where you guys have sat down and had that conversation of like, you know what, like we don't want to have kids. And then like you go back inside and then you tell Blakely like, hey Blakely, listen up. Like we don't want to have kids, so
We keep telling her,
we gotta
like,
figure it out.
you better fucking get a job, dude. You're freeloading right now.
You're being a real asshole to your siblings.
Yeah.
They may never come to existence because of you.
Yep.
We have definitely, we've gotten pretty lucky so far. Like she's, for the most part, super chill baby. She's struggling with sleep right now. It's driving me up a fucking wall. But it's one of those where it's like she's pretty good.
Yeah.
We bring another one into the picture. It's odds are we're not
Yeah.
going to get lucky twice.
Well,
So.
you really don't know. You really don't know if you truly enjoy kids until they're about 3.5, 4.
Yeah.
And then you're like, fuck this.
Yeah. That's and we've gotten so many times like, oh, you can't let him be an only child and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And I'm like, why not? Like fucking it'd be fine. But we
You know what?
we pushed that down the road a little bit. We're like, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah. No, either way you go, it is what it is.
I was
Yeah.
an only child for like 10 years.
Yeah.
It was great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was like,
Like I love my sisters and they're awesome. But I had a cool life as an only child.
well, so when I was, I guess, 6, I think 6 is when my oldest brother moved out. And then I had from then till like 10 or 11. And then we adopted my other brother.
Yeah.
So it was like I was a sibling and then I was essentially an only child because my brother's so much older than me. And then I had another brother that was the exact same age as me. And like that adjustment was hard because I was like I remember when we first adopted my brother, he got there and I had a Game Boy that I hadn't played in probably a year. And he was like, that's fucking sick. And he went, and I was like, whoa, that's mine. And that was like the reality check of like, nothing's just yours anymore.
Yeah.
Like my parents were like, nope, that's both of y'all's. And I was like, oh shit. Like I had it pretty good. But
I was a middle child, so
nothing was yours.
yeah. We're all 5 years apart, so
Okay.
like it wasn't too drastic. I
Yeah.
guess,
Y'all didn't. I feel like at that distance, like there's not too much overlap of like interest in things.
No, and I didn't give a shit about what my sister was into, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You know, and then my younger brother, like everything he was into, I was kind of outgrowing by, you know, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
All worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was I wish I could remember the name of this. Mel put on this documentary last night and then fell asleep. And obviously I was just like, fuck. But it's essentially, I can't remember the name of it. I'm trying to look it up right now. But the long of the short, it was this couple had like, I don't know, 4 kids.
Yeah.
And then they were like, you know what? Like they were well off. I mean, the guy's got a 5,000 square foot house, got a Lamborghini in the driveway, a couple $100,000 in the bank. Like they were doing well in life, you know, living the American dream. And then they were like, you know what? Like we should adopt a kid. And so then they were going to adopt a kid from Haiti. And then whatever natural disaster happened. I can't remember if it was a hurricane or earthquake or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so all the adoption processes stopped. And they were like, well, shit. And so I guess like within a week, they got a message from some other adoption agency. And they were like, hey, you know, one of their kids had Asperger's or Down syndrome, something. Yeah. And so they opened up a nonprofit and they had like a daycare for kids that were the same. And the parents could come hang out too. And like, you know, they're doing really good things. Yeah. And so this other adoption agency reached out and was like, hey, like, you know, we see everything that you guys do. We think we have a perfect fit. You know, it's a 6-year-old girl, but she has dwarfism.
Oh.
And they were like, you know, essentially the family was like, well, like, this is kind of like a sign from God, you know, like all this stuff we were almost supposed to happen and a natural disaster hit. And then now we get this phone call.
Right.
But then like red flag number 1 was like, you have 24 hours to make a decision if you want this kid or not.
Oh.
Yeah. And by the way, it's a closed adoption case coming from another adoption family that you can't have any information from them, know who they are, nothing. The story, nothing at all. But you have to make the decision. You have 24 hours and then you have to come pick her up.
Wow.
Yeah. So they made the decision. And I guess while they were in Florida waiting for, like, they hung out there for a couple of days before they went back to wherever they were from, somewhere in the Midwest. And, you know, the kid was supposed to be like 5 or 6. Right. And so the mom was like, okay, like it's bath time, you know, like let's go take a bath and make sure you don't drown. And I guess when the supposed 5 or 6-year-old got naked, she had a full fucking bush. Yeah. And they were like, what the fuck? And so then I guess the type of dwarfism that this person has, there's only like 2,400 people in the world that have it. So they happen to find somebody else did that was also 6 years old that lived in the same town they lived in. So they met up for a play date. And they were like, oh, that's a 6-year-old. And that might be a 20-year-old. And then they went through like mental health evals. And all the people are like, oh, like fucking, you need help. Like this person is a sociopath. Admitted that they just want to kill the whole family. They're definitely not 6 years old. And it's supposed to be like this person, the 6-year-old was from Ukraine and was in an orphanage there. And all the like, oh yeah, it's immediately like I'm sucked the fuck in, and Mal's asleep.
So they adopted a miniature murderer.
Pretty much. And like they literally admitted her to like the state mental hospital.
Wow.
And they were like, okay, yeah, like, okay, we need to figure some stuff out. And they had her there for like a month. And then they called the family, like, you need to come get her. It's like, what? Like, we can't. Like, she wants to kill us.
Yeah.
You know? And they're like, yeah, but she's propositioning every guy in the unit. And it's getting very unstable here. So we can't have her here.
Oh, no.
And it's like, wait, so this 6-year-old is propositioning and you're allowing it to happen and you're putting it in with adult inmates in a mental hospital, right? But nobody is addressing the fact that her birth certificate says she's 6 years old and this is her adopted parents. And nobody's like, hey, maybe that's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So
Was it called The Curious Case of Natalia Grace?
yes. That's Natalia is the name. That's the only thing I remember.
Wow.
But because I like Mal puts it on, I'm like, what's this? And she's like, it's some crazy fucked up documentary about this adopted kid. And I'm like, great. So I start fucking around on my phone, right? And then like within 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, this has my attention.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out. That's fucking crazy.
It's messed up. Like, because then you look at it like from like the adopted kid's point of view or whatever the fuck they are. You know, you're not 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how are you playing this off? Like,
Right.
how do you even put yourself in that position where like, okay, I guess everyone's gonna treat me like a 6-year-old until I get to 20, but I'm really however old. Like, you know, I don't know. It's yeah. But so the whole premise behind it is it ruined their marriage. It ruined their lives. They don't have any money anymore. They're not married anymore.
Right.
Like, but through the whole thing, and I'm like I said, I'm only 2 episodes in. They have 4 kids. 2 of their boys, their faces are blurred out on everything.
Yeah.
And they have other kids that are doing interviews, but those 2 boys aren't. So I don't know what happened. And I don't know what happened to the girl, the adopted one. And the wife hasn't said anything on the interview in the documentary yet either. It's just the husband and the neighbors and all the stuff. So, but yeah, it's I got sucked in so bad.
So it's like a mini series.
Yeah, I don't know how many episodes it is total, but it's definitely
I think
like a mini series documentary.
according to IMDb, the one I'm looking at, there are a total of 16 episodes.
God damn.
3 seasons.
What else can they talk about?
God.
Oh, this is going to get good.
I think I know what John's doing this weekend. Yeah, the nightmare stories that
I'm going to have to figure out. I'm downloading it on my iPad so I can listen to it on my drive to Arizona and watch it.
the nightmare stories that like my parents have told me about the whole adoption process, because we adopted my other brother from Russia.
Yeah.
And so my dad was smart. When he was in the army, he went to Russian language school. When they started the adoption process, he didn't tell anybody that. Like, he fluently spoke Russian. And the people that were running the orphanage in Russia would tell these kids, like, hey, these Americans that are trying to adopt you, what they're really doing is they're adopting you to come over to the US, and they're going to feed you and get you healthy so they can harvest your body parts for their actual children.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. Like fucking wild shit. And I remember the first trip over there, I went with my parents and I got to meet my brother and everything before the adoption was finalized, obviously. But like, I remember, obviously I'm 9 years old at the time, so I don't know what the fuck. I'm sitting there playing on something. And I remember the lady running the orphanage was talking to another lady that worked there. And in the middle of her saying something, I just remember my dad like butting in Russian and I was like, that's kind of crazy. Like, and then come to find out as I got older, he was like, yeah, they were lying to Gregory. Like, and so he was just like, no, let me lay this out for you real quick. It was fucking wild. That was also the first time I saw someone get jumped. was walking from our hotel in Moscow to, I guess, the orphanage maybe or something. But yeah, I'm looking down an alley and seeing a dude just get beat to shit, and I was like, cool. Like, but yeah.
Well, I think we should put a nail in this one.
How many people do you think get adopted that are American by people from other countries?
0.
Oh.
In fiscal year 22, there were instances of foreign families adopting American children, including from Canada, 11, the Netherlands, 10, Ireland, 2, New Zealand, 1, and Switzerland, 1.
My guess is 0 was not that far off.
No.
There were 25 in 2022.
That's I never even thought about that. Like,
Oh, wow.
like a U.S. kid getting adopted from by someone.
There's been a significant decline in international adoptions to the United States, with the numbers of children adopted internationally dropping from 22,884 in 2004 to 2,971 in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it was a year or two after we finalized the adoption of my brother is when Russia shut off adoptions to the U.S.
Yeah.
And I think one of the cases was because we went over in like a group. It was a bunch of different families that were looking to adopt like a group of kids. And one of the families that finished the adoption process, and I think it was a year and a half later, they decided like, oh, this was a mistake. And instead of like going through the right channels, all they did was they packed the kid's shit up and dropped him off at the airport with a one-way ticket back to Russia.
Yeah.
That was their, oh, this will go well. Like, and then they ended up getting arrested, as they should. But yeah, it was, and I think that kind of sparked it. And then they shut everything off. It was fucking, it was wild.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I think the average number of children that people have these days has really declined in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, let's wrap this up.
Sweet.
Well, if you made it this far, then you heard about our redacted cigar and your ways to get it. So check out any of our future events that Warfighter Tobacco is doing at your local shops or lounges. And that will be our promo cigar that we're doing there. If you can't make it to one of those, the first day that we're doing this is April 1st from midnight to 11:59 p.m. only on April 1st. Every 5 cigars you order off the website, we will add a free redacted cigar into your order when we ship it. No code needed. Nothing will be added to your cart. You don't have to try to find a redacted cigar on the website and add it in there because you won't be able to. There will be a product or a landing page for the redacted cigar that has a little bit of information about how, when, and where you can get this. And then the information that we are allowed to release about the cigar will also be on that page. But other than that, go to warfightertobacco.com for all your smoky treat needs. Justin, we got anything else?
We have a very small batch of Victory boxes left, I believe, still.
Yeah.
I think it's very small.
Like a few.
Yeah. So, if go over to the website if you want.
That's it. Once they're gone, they're gone. That's our 4th edition Victory. It's a 10-count box. Each cigar comes in its own coffin. Brazilian Matafina wrapper, Nicaragua binder filler, medium plus. Phenomenal flavors out of that cigar. But once the cigar is done, there's no longer. You will not ever be able to buy another box of it.
Now we have a couple more bundles than boxes.
Yeah, we have some singles available
after the boxes sell out. But if you want the box is cool because you get the 10-count beautiful box in coffins.
Yep.
And we'll never do another box like that ever again.
We'll probably never do coffins again either.
It was a pain in the ass. So
you're essentially that one box is 11 boxes.
Yeah.
And all of those cost money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're super cool. We added a cool little design, and when you open the lid of the coffin, it actually lifts the cigar, presents it, so that way you don't have to dig the cigar out of that coffin, which you have to do with a lot of them. But yeah, like Justin said, we only have a handful left. So go to warfightertobacco.com, pick up that before it's sold out. And then the faster we go through the singles, the faster the 5th edition Victory cigar gets released, which is
same blend. It'll just be a different Vitola.
Yeah, different shape. Same size. It'll be 6x54.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got those events in Arizona during the first week. Scott, you got anything else?
Nope.
Sweet. We'll see you guys next week.